Why the biggest housing bubble in world history will lead to the biggest recession in world history. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's red hot topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these very tricky times. All right, folks, welcome to the channel. It's always an honor and a privilege to be with you. I hope you're all doing great. So yeah, here's the deal, folks. Welcome back. Buckle up, strap in. We're going to go for another pull no punches, no sugarcoating it. Just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. Been warning people, sounding this alarm since the height of the buying euphoria in this real estate market, saying it doesn't pass a smell test. These are artificially stimulated markets due to government stimulus spending, and stimulus measures. It can't sustain itself. There will be blowback. The dust will settle, and we will pay the piper. And since we've been doing that now, probably only about a year, I believe, since I've been coming to YouTube as an active real estate agent in the biggest bubble ever produced in world history, actually warning people that this is, in fact, a bubble. Most people now are painfully aware of it. We're seeing people dropping out of the markets in droves. All the heavy hitters are pretty much all the way out, cash heavy. And that's going to bring us into today's topic, folks, because my job is to be a voice of reason in what's become a very unreasonable real estate market and help protect people. I will earn people's business later if I have to. I am happy to put people on the sidelines. I would never suggest anybody do anything that I'm not doing myself, and I, in fact, am on the sidelines. I'm not going to play around in the biggest bubble ever recorded in world history. And if you're in these markets now, that is exactly what you're doing. Unfortunately, most people are unaware of that, or if they are, they just are believing a narrative, a different narrative that's causing them to want to go out and buy at the height. And I know I can speak from experience. In the last housing bubble, I did the same thing. I bought at the height, not knowing I was buying at the height. I wasn't in tune with economics or watching people smarter than me trying to learn about these things, and I, in fact, suffered some of the effects of the last recession. Today, I'm going to share with you how you're not only going to protect yourself in this next recession that is guaranteed, but how you're going to, in fact, prosper in it as well, because it all comes down to psychology, the psychology of sales, the psychology of people. You can pull from as much data, charts, algorithms, websites, anywhere you want. None of it will make sense. Everybody trying to make all their moves based on data will, in fact, come, later on have to admit how, or try to make sense of what happened, and they'll just be, chasing, the curve forever. The reality is, folks, is nobody will see this coming. Nobody knows the timing. Nobody has a crystal ball. It's going to be one of those things where you're just going to have to trust your intuition, experience, and temperature check what's going on around you to really get a feel of what people are thinking. As an active realtor for the biggest brokerage in the world, working with the biggest real estate website in the world, allows me to keep my thumb on the pulse and temperature check these markets in a pretty accurate way that I can come here and communicate that to you, my audience. So I want to again thank anybody that's participated and jumped in the comments below of this channel. Very smart people tend to participate in this channel, and I very much appreciate that. I want to thank you for my loyal supporters. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I humbly want to ask you to just click the subscribe button. It helps this channel and gets this message out. And I believe helping others is ultimately going to pay the biggest rewards in life, and it's very helpful to do that. So please consider being a channel subscriber and giving the video a like. It really does help people. So the reality, folks, is coming up for air. The thing is, folks, is we are, in fact, headed for the biggest recession in world history. And you're probably hearing that here, first here. The reality is that we are in the biggest asset bubble, real estate, stocks primarily, ever recorded in world history. This is, in fact, you are living in the biggest bubble. At the top, you are at the top of a real estate bubble. It is now teetering on a razor's edge because of inflation doing what it did, and the government now going to go play market manipulation to see if, in fact, they can try to cool the markets. Unfortunately, because we've kicked the can so far down the road, Any sudden moves by them, no matter the size, is going to tip these markets. See, the problem is that we doubled the amount of money in circulation throughout the pandemic, where people felt rich, went out and started spending, and it found its way into these euphoric, overvalued asset classes, the markets, real estate included. Back in the last bubble, we weren't overpaying for real estate. We were paying at the top, but we weren't making offers over asking price. Approximately 10 million people. This isn't, I hope you understand the magnitude of this, folks. Like mortgage forbearance, that was a hot one. It's going to have blowback. The people that, now have to start making their payments again, we're going to see how they do. That was roughly, 4 million, I believe, in mortgage forbearance initially, and then that kind of dribbled back to maybe 2 million or so. I can't remember the exact numbers, but the reality is 10 million people out there right now that bought at the height of a real estate bubble, but that wasn't enough. They overpaid. They paid above market value to get these homes. That is going to be insanity. When the dominoes start to fall, unfortunately, folks, those are going to be the first. The people that bought at the height recently and overpaid to do it, those will be the first dominoes to fall. So the reality is that we basically have the biggest housing bubble ever produced in that manner, unorganic, market manipulated, government produced, stimulated markets. The blowback is going to be much heavier than the last recession. And so now we're entering in that. We've heard people like Elon Musk say, in fact, quote, in his gut, he feels like we're headed for a recession this year, spring or summer 2023 at the latest. This is the richest guy in the world, has nothing to gain about warning people about a recession. Of course, that was one tweet, and we haven't heard a peep out of him that I'm aware of since. He probably wishes he had never said it. The reality is we're seeing big time people cashing out of these markets and getting on the sidelines. Something we've been saying here for some time now. The people that are going to win in this next recession are the people, first of all, like we've talked about, that can psychologically weather this storm from a psychological standpoint. Because the thing is, when we enter a recession, jobs start going away, and foreclosures and houses and plummeting sales and stock market pain, and the next big headline spooks the markets. People are going to want to try to hold on to their wealth. They're not going to want to go spend it. So the reality is that that's going to just stranglehold our economy, and we're going to watch this dive bomb. And I really, appreciate a lot of data-driven and statistics and this and that, but like Elon Musk, you got to trust your gut. Like we always talk about on this channel, does it pass the smell test? And, we all know this one didn't. It was, like we talked about, produced out of thin air, the money printer. And so, of course, these markets are artificially valued at this time, and they can't sustain themselves. There's just no way. I wish I could tell you differently. I wish I could just tell you that somehow a miracle happens, we defy gravity, and we have the first in time in history where we've been able to survive a bubble. We never have survived a bubble. We're in the biggest bubble, so it's going to provide the biggest recession, folks. And final thoughts today, folks. I really, really want to urge all of you to be a level-headed realist at this time and understand these are the things that are happening around us. These are the things that are potentially take down this country in a big, big way. The 100-year cycle of depressions we're due for that alone. Everything is kind of echoing that. All we can really do is try to temperature check and heat map what's going on. And right now what we're seeing, and I can just tell you from personally, I'm seeing more people now calling me wanting to sell their houses, talk about their house, and get out of these markets. People are going to lose their money in the stock market first, and then they're going to look to their real estate where they maybe still have some appreciation, and then they're going to start selling off their real estate to try to capitalize on any gains that's left in those. Unfortunately, because of this aftertaste of this market that we're in, a lot of people and agents are going to make the mistake of telling customers that they're going to be able to bring them multiple offers over asking price, but those times have come and gone. They're on their way. That's on borrowed time as well. And then we're going to see people chasing the market, and the kiss of death in real estate is when you're stuck on the market, you don't price right. You're going to see a lot of people stuck on the market and then showing those price reductions. We're already seeing a lot of properties going through price reductions because euphoric sellers and euphoric realtors brought them onto the market, promising them the moon. And the reality is people aren't willing to stick their necks that far out anymore. Basically the decline has started. We're entering in right now. Basically the decline of the stock and real estate market. It's going to start flatlining, and then we're going to see it basically start migrating around, and different markets are going to start to fall. Contagion will set in. Probably a huge stock market collapse will just get people rushing to the exits. If we get too many people rushing to the exits at once, meaning coming to market, then it's going to grab headlines. Mainstream media will be forced to report on it, and then the government, there's just no safety net that's left now that we can throw at it. We already threw everything in the kitchen sink during the pandemic at this thing when we really didn't need it, and now when we do need it, we won't have it. So stay close to the channel. If you appreciate the content, I humbly ask you, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Go make it count today. I'll see you on the next video.